The 5 simple and fastest underrated habits to get lean, especially if you're starting at 30%. Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Diamonds. I'm a medical doctor and I'm also a new professional natural bodybuilder. I've been doing this for a decade and I'm going to share with you the 5 underrated habits that I have utilized to be able to transform my physique multiple times. I'm an endomorph, if you'd like to describe it that way. I easily build muscle, but I hold on to fat very easily and I gain it very quickly. And that has allowed me to utilize all the science that I've been able to accumulate over the last decade, apply it on myself and see amazing results. But not only that, to do it on my clients as well. Like, look at my client here, Dominic, 60 years young. And once I implemented these 5 habits that I utilize in this video, Dominic released the weight, had a 6-pack in amazing shape. Look at my client, Dwayne, 80 years young. You look at his transformation and that just tells you there's really no excuse, and it's just that you're lacking some information. And if you watch this video to the very end, you can achieve a transformation like Dominic or Dwayne. But not even that, look at my client Harry. We had an interview on this very channel. He dropped 80 pounds utilizing these 5 habits. The same goes for Sandra and every single client I've coached over the last decade. Let's not waste any more time and let's dive straight in. Habit number 1 is going to be the 15,000 rule. The big advice that I can give everybody in that we have control over. I'm sure you've heard of the diet each and every single time, but the one thing that I've seen with each and every single one of my clients is that they get 15,000 steps. I calculated and tabulated all of my clients' steps and they eventually get 15,000 steps daily. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that as a habit. Now, before we talk about how to do it, I'll tell you why we should do it. On the fat loss and scientific basis with fat loss, research has shown that when you walk, your body, the energy source you're using is mainly your fat stores compared to your carbohydrates / your glycogen stores when you're sprinting. So why not walk more? And the reason is people don't want to walk because it feels too simple. And the second reason scientifically why we prefer walking to running is that it's much easier to guarantee that I can walk 365 days in a year compared to running 365 days a year or using an elliptical or any machine. So making it with the least resistance, walking is one of the best things. Research has also shown that on the simple way, walking 10,000 steps is incredible. So I highly recommend on a simple fashion, the habit of 10,000 steps is going to be amazing for you. And every client I have will tell you that walking is by far one of the best things that you can do as your form of cardiovascular health. It's amazing for your heart. So if you think about your heart as a system, think of your heart as the pump and all your arteries and veins as the pipe. And if you're walking more, you're improving the blood flow throughout the pipes so you don't have anything clogging into the future when you're in your 60s and 70s and avoiding any cardiovascular health. So on a longevity basis, this is amazing for you. Research has also shown that it's amazing for your mental health. What I really love about walking is that it's a task you can do accompanied by another task. For example, if I'm on the phone, if I'm texting, I have a rule that I should be walking. If I'm reading a book, I can actually walk and read the book or listen to a podcast. This is actually a way myself and my wife actually spend some quality time. Sometimes we'll go to the gym together and we'll get our steps on the treadmills and just have a conversation. If it's about business, if it's about life, or any plans we have. So it's an amazing way to habit stack and build some healthy habits. More importantly, what people struggle with once they've lost the weight is keeping it off. Walking is going to be that insurance policy for you. And I have actually tested this. Black Friday, we always love contacting our clients and seeing if they need help. And most of them never need it because they've stuck to the very simple habit. And that's something you should implement. So simply start at 10,000, but work your way up to 15,000. The easy math is this: 10 minutes of walking will give you 1,000 steps. So you need roughly 150 minutes in your day. But you can do this very easily. Walking to the gym, there and back. If your gym is 15 minutes away, you can get 1,500 steps to the gym, 1,500 steps back from the gym. What I also recommend to everybody is when you're exercising, in the minute rest you have to have between every set, instead of just sitting on your phone, walk. And if you have about 20 sets per day in your exercise routine, that's about 23 minutes within that workout period. And in there, you can get 2,000 easy steps. So in total, just going to the gym and back and in the gym, you can come home with 5,000 steps. Another easy thing you can do is wake up earlier and just walk. So something I do, I get onto meetings in the morning with my team or with my clients, and I'll walk in there. And you don't have to walk really fast as long as you're moving. And in 1 hour of a meeting, I get 6,000 steps. And utilizing and just being very conscious, carry an Apple Watch, a Fitbit, any tracker will just give you a good estimation of how much your body's moving. And I promise you, this habit will be life-changing. I've actually had a client, I'm showing you here on the screen. We did a step challenge, right? So in my clients, and this picture I'm showing you is 4 weeks apart. He went from 10K to 15K steps and lost all his belly fat. The big picture is you're burning more calories and you're doing it the simplest way. It's an easy win. It's a low-hanging fruit. The formula to build muscle and to lose fat is this: 30 to 50 grams of protein multiplied by a caloric deficit plus weightlifting will equal your ability to build muscle and lose fat. Let me explain. To repeat, protein 30 to 50 grams multiplied by a caloric deficit plus weightlifting equals your ability to build muscle and lose fat. Protein in Greek, proteus, means first rank. It means it's the most important in Greek. So why I put this first is that protein, in my books, is the most important macronutrient, and that's my opinion. I'll tell you why. It has the biggest benefit if I were to compare it to carbs and fats. Number one, it will help you build muscle. Number two, what's amazing about protein is that it will restrict your calories. You've never heard someone get fat on eating too much steak or too much chicken breast. And the reason for that is that protein has this peptide YY that actually incites satiety. It makes you full. So every meal, eat 30 to 50 grams of protein, and it will automatically put you in a caloric deficit. It will help you build more muscle. The third beautiful thing about protein is it will increase your thermic effect of food, which is a sexy way of saying your body burns more calories trying to break the protein down. And think about it. It takes you more time to chew a steak compared to rice or oatmeal. And there's so many benefits to protein that it should be the main thing you should focus on, and why it's so underrated. So if you're eating 50 grams a meal, if you're 200 pounds, in 4 meals, you want to have 50 grams in each meal, and that will give you 200 grams of protein. Very easy. And I'm going to give you a cheat code. I call it the 26810 method. 2 scoops of any whey protein will give you 50 grams of protein. 6 ounces of chicken breast cooked will give you 50 grams of protein. 8 ounces of cooked steak, I recommend topside steak, will give you 50 grams of protein. And 10 ounces of tuna will give you 50 grams of protein. And literally now you have half of the equation figured out. You know, for breakfast, I can have a protein oats. For lunch, I can have chicken breast and any carb. For dinner, you can have a steak and potatoes, for example, and maybe as a snack you can add some tuna on rice cakes. Voila, right? It's very easy and simple, and this will allow you to lose weight quickly because you're going to be eating less because you're eating so much more protein. The second part of being in a caloric deficit is, yes, I highly recommend using apps like MyFitnessPal. If you just Google calorie calculator, you can calculate how much you should be losing 1 pound per week, but just make sure you're eating roughly 1 gram of protein, 20% of your total calories to fats, and the rest towards carbs. There's so many tools on Google that help calculate this for you. Actually, if you're watching this video, if the advice I'm giving so far is right, it's up to you to tell people in the comments that it's true, because people are going to go in the comments and see, hey, should I just do this? Share your story. Did the steps help you? Did the protein and being in a caloric deficit, even the apps I'm mentioning, did it help you? I'm telling you, it will inspire someone. If you're enjoying the content so far, leave it with a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. Underrated habit number 3. I call it the awakening. And I want to tell you guys something. I lied. There's not 3 habits. I'm going to give you 10. And from 5 onwards, they're actually amazing little habits you can incorporate that could be what helps you lose 10 more pounds. So let's just stay with me. The awakening is sleeping 7 to 8 hours is a must. It must be the foundation of your entire process. The way I want you to think is like this. When you go to bed, it's when you're able to take your car into the mechanics to fix everything you did to it during the day. Imagine you took your car out onto a track, you're racing it down the streets, you're doing so many things to it. You need to fix it so it's prepared to race again the next day, and that's what sleep is. If you don't sleep enough, maybe you didn't change the tires that you're supposed to change. Maybe you've damaged the engine a little bit and the car's gonna break down. And that's exactly what happens to people sleeping 5 to 6 hours. I'll tell you why. Number 1, for men and women, the main muscle building hormone is testosterone. When you sleep less, it can decrease by 30%. And if you're wondering why you're feeling low on energy or you're not performing as well, or you're mentally foggy, it's probably because your testosterone is in the gutter as a result of sleeping poorly. The second thing is, even brain-wise, there's a direct correlation between dealing with Alzheimer's or dementia, because you're not allowing your brain enough time to clear all the waste material because you're not sleeping enough, right? So again, that analogy that you're not taking it into the mechanics to fix everything, and you become more insulin resistant. And what that basically is your body doesn't put carbs where it's supposed to be. And if your body doesn't put the carbs where it's supposed to be, what does it do? It stores it as fat. So if you're noticing you're gaining weight, the first thing is sleep. You need to focus on that, and it's the bedrock to an entire transformation, and it has to be here. Not only does that happen, but sticking to a diet is 10 times harder. I'm telling you this. I notice the difference. When I sleep 5 hours, I am craving for a burger. I'm craving for candy. But when I'm sleeping 8 hours, I'm so motivated. I love eating the foods that I'm eating. So if you're noticing you're trying all these things, right? Nothing's working for you. You have to first focus on getting to 7 to 8 hours of sleep. For all of you guys who are working hard, you maybe have very demanding jobs. Every day that you sleep less, you're shaving years off of your life. And I don't mean that as an exaggeration. It's the truth. You will pay a price for sleeping less. So just do it now. And the hope I can give you is that I was that medical student sleeping 5 hours a night. When I became the medical student sleeping 7 to 8 hours, I was unbeatable. I was incredible in the hospital. I was incredible in my exams. You are the best version of yourself 7 to 8 hours. So why not show up that way? Some advice I can give you guys to sleep more is set a routine bedtime. What's more important than an alarm to wake up is actually an alarm to go to bed. So set a bedtime. Your last meal and drink at least 3 hours before bed. So if you want to sleep at 10 p.m., make sure your last meal and your last liquids is at 7 p.m. Make sure that your caffeine intake, you don't drink any more caffeine past midday. So that's my advice to you. And then finally, when you wake up, make sure you expose yourself to some light, because this will reset your circadian rhythm, your internal clock. And maybe it's dark where you live. You can buy like a cheap $10, $20 Amazon light. It's called like a desk sunlight lamp, and that will reset your melatonin. So those are some pieces of advice for tip number 3. But if I can get people to sleep more, it'll be life-changing. Let's move on to underrated tip number 4. Train in the AM, eat in the PM. This method has been very effective for all of my clients. So what do I mean? Train in the AM. I've noticed my clients are a lot more productive, including myself, training in the morning. And at a base level, you get the training out the way. You get to benefit all the endorphins. You feel more energetic. You feel good once you've trained in the morning. You've ticked off a box. Contrary to what people believe is that you're going to go to work tired. It's actually it's the opposite. So I highly recommend trying to train in the morning, and you'll have a great workout, and you'll actually have a lot more of a productive day. Right after this video, I'm going to go train. Eating in the PM allows you to only focus on your most important tasks in the morning. You don't have to focus on eating food or like making your body potentially slower. And you get to save all of your calories for later. And the likelihood that you follow your diet is much more likely, because if you're eating 2,000 calories, instead of spreading it out in the day, you get to eat like a king in the afternoon. So intermittent fasting is something I practice. The simple way for most people, you don't have to do the classic 16-8, which you've heard of. You can actually start your diet in the beginning or your process and fast for 12 hours and eat in a 12-hour window period, right? Like there's no specific rule. And then over time, as you progress and get better, you can increase your fasting window to 14 hours of fasting and then move over to 16 hours of fasting, right? So you can go 12-12, 14-10, 16-8, and develop this way. And I'll also say in the beginning, a couple of days, it will take an adjustment period because you'd be used to eating in the morning, but you'll actually feel a lot more energetic. And for those who feel like, hey Mike, what about, I was always told I need to have a meal before training. That's true. It's a good idea, but you can always have caffeine as a source of energy if you don't have any caffeine issues. So I do that. I'll have a pre-workout or I'll have a cup of coffee before my training session and I'll feel as energetic. This is very productive, and this allows my clients to follow a plan a lot more regimented. Again, this isn't a blanket statement that this should apply to everybody. We're all different people. We might have different chronotypes, but I highly recommend training in the morning, eating in the afternoon. This is a beautiful formula. Let's move over into step number 5. So for all my, hey Mike, I cannot track my diet. It's so complicated. It's so busy. I'm so busy. We all have the same 24 hours. I coach NFL players. I coach Fortune 500 CEOs, very, very busy people. The point I want to share is that we all have the same 24 hours. Don't use you being busy as a limiting factor, right? Where you give up. Find a solution. With eating, I highly recommend tracking the day before. So this allows you to think of your day, plan for your day. If you're like, hey, I have a meeting at this time, and this time, I'll be home at these hours. You can spend a day, an evening just tracking and already figuring out what you want to eat the next day. And you don't have to stress about it the next day. So track the night before, and even better, just track once that week and then repeat the same food each and every single day. So track on a Sunday, and then from Monday to Saturday, eat the same food every day. And maybe if you must, again, maybe on Wednesday, your routine is going to change. You're traveling to another location. On that Tuesday, track again, and then eat the same again for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So what this does is that it allows you to be forward thinking. It allows you to plan. It allows you to prepare, right? Because if you don't prepare, you'll fail. And this system works really well. It takes away the pressure of needing to figure out a different diet. And I've actually noticed my clients get better results because it decreases the variability in the foods that they're eating. So their weight's fluctuating less. They can actually manage their energy better because they know where they're gonna get their energy sources from, and they don't need to maybe get a crash from eating too much carbs. So I highly recommend tracking once a week minimum, and then eating the same foods over and over again. And for all my, oh, I'm a foodie, I need to have different food, like just do it for a week and maybe get some motivation with your plan, right? So those are the 5, but let me give you the bonuses. Number 6, they're very simple. I've noticed clients see a lot more success by weighing themselves every day. And I'll tell you why. And what we call this is, it is a system of self-monitoring. So what I've noticed by weighing in every day is that when you step on the scale in the morning, don't get emotionally attached to the number, but it can affect your behavior. So let's say you step on the scale, right? You're trying to lose weight and you don't see any weight changes. It'll make you think like, hey, am I not doing something right? And you'll be a lot more conscious of what you're doing throughout the day. Let's say you do gain weight over the next 3 days, 4 days. It'll make you question what's causing this, and it will make you aware, and you'll correct for the mistakes you're probably making. You're like, hey, maybe I ate out last night or something happened, but it will make you aware. This process of self-monitoring, it creates a positive feedback loop. And on the positive side, when you do start seeing weight loss, when you do start seeing the number go down, it will motivate you, but it will also tell you, hey, this is what I need to do. And it's a great indicator for trend, right? So it's basically going to serve as a compass, not a GPS, a compass. It will tell you if you're trying to go north, it will show you north. And if you're not going north, you'll know, okay, I need to adjust a little bit. And as you lose weight, as you trend in the right direction, it will continue telling you if you're going in the right direction. So that's a beautiful thing. It creates a positive feedback loop. I've noticed with a lot of my clients, when we instill this habit, the likelihood that they're successful beyond my program is a lot higher. Number 7 is drinking a gallon of water. For all the amazing benefits that water helps you with, transporting the nutrients around your body, improving skin, you'll be surprised a lot of the times you're not hungry, you're actually thirsty. But your brain can confuse the signal of hunger and thirst. When you drink a gallon of water, you can make sure you tick the thirst box and you'll be less hungry. Not to even mention all the other benefits of just drinking a gallon of water. Now, you guys may wonder, like, that's a lot of water to drink. The scientific way of how much water you should be drinking, you can use a few different rulers to kind of determine. At base level, the easiest one, if you don't have clear urine, then very likely you need to be drinking more. And you can use the color of your urine as a benchmark to determine if you're underhydrated or overhydrated. You want to have it clear. The second benchmark you can use is using half of your body weight in fluid ounces. So if you're 200 pounds, you should at least be drinking 100 fluid ounces per day. And if you're 220 pounds, then you should be drinking 110. And then the third one is simply a gallon a day. And this will automatically help you lose weight because you'll stop having these hunger signals, which are confusing for actually thirst signals. Let's move on into the next tip. Number 8 is zone 2 cardio. I just finished reading Dr. Peter Attia's book. I've known this myself, but it's brought to light so much more information. A very good correlator to longevity is actually your cardiovascular health, which makes a lot of sense, right? How well your heart's pumping, how efficient your heart is pumping, plays a massive role in avoiding one of the horsemen, the dark horsemen of death in the future, which is cardiovascular health, right? And you will be shocked by the statistics of how many people deal with chronic disease that has to do with your cardiovascular health. So not only is cardio amazing for fat loss, it's amazing for living longer, which should actually be our main concern. So zone 2 cardio can be defined as being at or exercising your heart rate between 60 and 70% of your max heart rate, right? So that is usually between the 110 to 120 beats per minute, depending on how fit you are. But I highly recommend you do at least 3 sessions of 20 minutes a week of zone 2 cardio, getting your heart rate to 120 beats and above. A big benefit is that you can actually burn a lot of fat. People consider this the fat burning zone, doing it at that level. But what's also amazing about it is that it is an amazing tool and an indicator for longevity. Reading Atiya's book, it shows that people at a higher quota, the more you do zone 2 cardio, the longer you'll live. So I highly recommend this, aside from the fat loss benefits. And my clients as well, and my recommendation to you is, I get clients who'll start with me and they're above 30%. Maybe their body cannot deal with zone 2 cardio yet, so we'll start off slow, but eventually we'll integrate this plan. So I highly recommend you do 3 sessions, 20 minutes. What you can do is get on an elliptical, get on a Stairmaster, an inclined walk, and this will have amazing benefits for you. And personally, I've also noticed that when I do cardio, my appetite is actually reduced. I don't eat as much. Maybe it's an effect because I'm more conscious about the efforts I'm putting into getting healthier, but I do notice that I can fast a little bit longer and I'm not as hungry. This may be controversial. Is cheat more? Let me explain. So I'm sure you've heard you need to be in a 500 daily caloric deficit. The math works is that 1 pound of fat, if we were to burn it up, right, which calories is a measurement of energy spent, right? So if I were to burn a whole pound of fat, it would roughly equate to 3,500 calories, right? 3,500 energies. Divide that by 7 days in a week. That's where you get that number of 500 calories a day to lose a pound of fat a week. However, what you can do, which is a little bit smart, is actually do 100 caloric deficit. Now, the caveat here is that you need to really track your foods accurately, and you'll get better results this way. This is actually a skill we practice in my program, but track really accurately and do a 600 caloric deficit. And what I like doing to my clients is having a refeed meal every Sunday or Saturday, so they go out to eat with their family. So basically what happens is, because I've set a 600 caloric deficit, you end up establishing an extra 700 calories, right? Because now instead of 500, it's 600 daily, which is a bigger difference by 100. 100 times 7 is 700 calories. So basically on a Saturday and Sunday, I give my clients the opportunity to eat any meal that they want. It can be a pizza, it can be a burger. All they need to do is swap out their dinner for a dinner of their choice. And what this does is a few things. Number one, it creates a positive feedback loop as a reward for following the plan really well. And it takes away this idea of a marathon, and they just look at their process on a week-to-week basis. It gives you positive food association, because now you don't think of this food is good and this food is bad, because you're starting to eat cheat meals and you're still losing weight. You just realize you needed to be a bit more conscious. The third thing, research has shown this, that individuals who have refeeds, actually, they will both lose the same amount of weight compared to the person who doesn't. However, the person will maintain more muscle mass doing a refeed, and you'll be like, why? Why do they maintain more muscle mass? Because on the day that they eat more carbs, more fats, the following 2 to 3 days, well, they will have a marked improvement in their training output. They'll train harder and stronger. So we know there's a direct correlation between how hard and how strong you can train and the amount of muscle mass you have. So if you do this every week, you're likely to be stronger at the end of a 4-month period compared to not doing it at all. Inherently, the person who does their refeeds once a week will have a lower body fat percentage because they have more muscle mass. That's why I say cheat more, but be intelligent about it and be smart. This is a little strategy we implement. Give it a go, and I think you'll see amazing results. But I always say, if you start a diet, give yourself 2 weeks to really track, make sure you're doing it all right, and then implement it after, once you've established a good baseline. And the final one is going to be recipes. So let me explain. The issue many people have is they don't have enough tools to utilize. So one thing that I teach, I have over 1,000 recipes on the back end, is I make very healthy alternatives to the meals people love. Tacos, burgers, fries, pizzas, It can be anything. All the foods you see, there are healthier alternatives to those foods. So if you could find those alternatives, include them in your plan, it turns this from being a diet to a way of life, just the way you eat every day, and you've just made better decisions. You've swapped out that McDonald's Big Mac for your own version of a Big Mac. You've swapped out that Domino's pizza for a homemade version with thinner crust, higher protein. I eat an ice cream every single day, and it's just calorie friendly. So I highly recommend, and I'm actually, for all of you who watch till the end, I am going to leave a recipe book with 21 recipes of all my favorite foods that are great macronutrient wise. It's in the description below, and comment down below mashallah if you got here, and if you downloaded it, give the video the like. I greatly appreciate it. If you want to work with me, there's a link in the description. The people we work with are usually executives and CEOs. Fill out the application if you're interested, but I'll see you guys in the next one. If not, if you don't follow that criteria, no problem. Just watch my videos. There's 800 videos on here. All that information you need to be successful is in here. But if you need someone to streamline your process, that's us. See you in the next one. Cheers.